Hi, I'm Bill Wiadrowski from LifeWise Pet Nutrition, and today's question comes from Natalie, who'd like to know how much starch is in the food. Well, good question, Natalie. Starch is a funny one because it's actually made up of or contained in a substance that's called nitrogen-free extract, or NFE. And to actually find out how much there is in the food, we have to do it by subtracting all the things that we know is there. So when we're analysing food, the first thing we do is we measure the amount of crude protein in the food. So we've got crude protein. And that is determined by a chemical analysis of the nitrogen content of the food, and that gives us a figure. The next thing we measure is crude fat. Crude fat is determined chemically by either solvent extraction or acid hydrolysis. Crude fiber. Crude fiber is once again assayed in a similar way to the way protein is determined, but by a chemical extraction technique. Ash is what's the residue of the food. We burn that, and that's primarily the mineral content of the food. Water is an ingredient in the food, and we measure that by weight loss. And then the difference between all of these and 100% is the NFE content. And it's got to add up to 100. So if we've got 25% protein, 15% fat, let's say 4% fiber, let's say 6% ash, 8% water, we've got 40, 44, 50, we've got 58% there, which means that the NFE must be 42%, because that then adds up to 100. And that's how we actually undertake a chemical assay, and that's how we determine how much starch is there. The amount of starch is a bit of a double-edged sword. We don't want too much of it, because the more starch we have in there, the less good nutrients we have. But the other thing is the starch also forms the matrix by which we actually build a dry food. So in the cooking process, the starch melts, all of the nutrients then get bound into the starch, and then once the food starts to cool, the starch solidifies, and that gives us our trademark crunch, which is so handy for cleaning teeth. So there you go, Natalie, that's how we determine how much NFE is in the food and ultimately how much the starch is there. Hope that answers your question. If you've got any more, please send them in and we'll get to them as well. See you next time.